In today's news video, we cover Putin's fears of Ukrainian strike revealed, Russia deploys lethal S-400 missiles in Moscow. Russia unveils new stealth nuclear submarine, Generalissimus Suvorov joins Pacific Fleet. Ukraine mourns loss of top official, Minister of Internal Affairs Denis Monastyrsky killed in helicopter crash during war with Russia. Enjoy watching and don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss out on important news. Russia has deployed its lethal anti-aircraft systems around Moscow and a sign that Vladimir Putin is taking precautions against the potential strikes from Ukraine. Putin has now deployed Russia's fearsome S-400 defense missiles to two locations in the capital amid fears Kyiv could launch attacks on the city. The S-400 Triumph air defense system is designed to destroy aircraft, cruise, and ballistic missiles, including medium-range missiles. It can also be used against ground objectives. Its deployment to Moscow comes after two suspected Ukrainian drone strikes hit two air bases deep inside Russia in December, damaging two nuclear-capable bombers that were thought to be preparing for an attack on Ukraine. Russia is openly deploying its lethal anti-aircraft systems around Moscow and a sign that Vladimir Putin is taking precautions against the potential strikes from Ukraine in retaliation to deadly strikes. One S-400 air defense system, which has a range of 248 miles, has been deployed in fields belonging to the Russian State Agricultural University in the northwest of Moscow. Another has been deployed to the Luzhny Ostrov National Park near Sokolniki district in the northeast of the city. The S-400 is capable of shooting down up to 80 targets simultaneously and is said to be able to travel at a speed of more than 10,000 miles per hour. Residents say the deployments are new in Moscow and highlights Putin's fears of a hit on his largest city. It comes after two suspected Ukrainian drone strikes hit two air bases in Saratov and Ryazan in December. The Engels 2 air base, near the city of Saratov, was hit by an explosion in December in a strike that left two Tu-95 bombers, which have been used to carry out airstrikes on Ukraine's infrastructure, damaged. The base is some 450 miles from the nearest point in Ukraine. Another explosion hit Russia's Dyagilevo military base near the city of Ryazan, about 470 miles from the Ukrainian border, killing 3 people after a fuel truck detonated. Putin has now deployed Russia's fearsome S-400 defense missiles to the capital amid fears Ukraine could launch attacks on the city. Despite multiple strikes by Russia on Ukraine's capital of Kyiv, Moscow has not yet been hit. Meanwhile, the General Staff of the Ukrainian Armed Forces said on Wednesday that Russia and Ukraine had exchanged fire on the eastern front line, where neither has advanced much in recent months. Over the past 24 hours, Russian forces pounded the Luhansk and Donetsk regions, where nearly 30 settlements were shelled, including the towns of Soledar and Bakhmut as well as the village of Klishchivka, the military's report said. Ukrainian forces repelled attacks in Bakhmut and the village of Klishchivka just south of it in Donetsk, it added. Russia claims to have captured the small mining town of Soledar near Bakhmut, a focal point of recent fighting, but Kyiv says its forces are still fighting there. The situation is complicated. Fighting is still going on in the streets of Soledar and Ukrainian forces are fighting hard. Part of the town in occupied, Petro Kuzyk, commander of the Freedom Battalion of the Ukrainian National Guard, was quoted as saying by the Espresso TV news website. Ukrainian military analyst Ola Zhdanov said in a YouTube video that eyewitnesses had noted Russian soldiers at the railway station in the town of Sil, just north of Soledar. The number of Wagner fighters for hire, who played a major role in recent advances in Donbass, is much smaller, with Russian soldiers and conscripts now spearheading attacks, he added. Russian President Vladimir Putin is due to visit St. Petersburg on Wednesday, the 80th anniversary of the day Soviet forces managed to open a narrow land corridor to the city then known as Leningrad and break a Nazi blockade that had lasted since September 1941. Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov told a domestic news agency that there was no truth to rumors Putin would announce changes to the war effort, such as a general mobilization. The submarine will enter service with Russia's Pacific Fleet later. TASS has been unable to officially confirm this information at the time of the publication. About the submarine. The strategic nuclear-powered submarine Generalissimus Suvorov was built at the Sevmaz shipyard, part of the United Shipbuilding Corporation, in Russia's northwest on December 26, 2014. The sub belongs to the fourth generation of nuclear-powered submarines developed for the Russian Navy under the improved Boreae project, designed by the St. Petersburg-based Rubin Central Design Bureau of Marine Engineering. The project features fundamentally new technical solutions, improved equipment, reduced physical fields, enhanced protection, and indigenous components. The advanced submarine cruiser is set to join and bolster the Russian Pacific Fleet's force of nuclear-powered submarines. Boreae and improved Boreae-class submarines carry 16 Bulava intercontinental ballistic missiles and are outfitted with 533 mm torpedo tubes. Compared to the baseline Boreae series, Boreae subs featured better acoustic stealth, maneuvering, and deep-sea running capabilities and an improved armament control system. Denis Monastyrsky was the highest-ranking Ukrainian government official to die since Russia's invasion began in February last year. As Ukraine's Minister for Internal Affairs, Denis Monastyrsky oversaw the country's police, its National Guard and Border Patrol units, including tens of thousands of combatants who have fought in the war, although some of the direct command had transferred to the army. He was among the 18 people killed when a helicopter crashed near Kiev on Wednesday morning, and was the highest-ranking Ukrainian government official to die since Russia's invasion began in February last year. Throughout the war, risks to Mr. Monastyrsky's life abounded. He was among the top security officials who remained in Kiev, the capital, with President Volodymyr Zelensky in the first days of the war as Russia's army bore down on the city. He was also a member of Ukraine's National Security and Defense Council, a policymaking body that set wartime goals. The Ministry of Internal Affairs has overseen rescue efforts after missile strikes in Ukrainian cities, including a frantic attempt this week to find survivors in the rubble of an apartment block that was hit by a Russian strike in the city of Dnipro, killing at least 45 people. The ministry has also supervised teams clearing mines from recaptured territory, an operation in which dozens of people have been killed or maimed each month. Mr. Monastyrsky, who worked as a lawyer before becoming a lawmaker, was elected to Parliament in 2019 as a member of Mr. Zelensky's political party, Servant of the People. His focus had been overhauling the country's Soviet legacy law enforcement system to stamp out corruption and provide better service. But, as with others in Mr. Zelensky's government, he was thrust into a wartime leadership role after the Russian invasion in February last year. He was a very modest person, very brave, Serhiy Leshchenko, an advisor to Mr. Zelensky's chief of staff, said of Mr. Monastyrsky on Wednesday. There were no scandals around him. He was a good guy.